Pacquiao versus Spence. Hey folks, we hope you're doing well and are staying safe and healthy in these testing times. As you saw from the title, we'll be digging a little bit further into the legendary night of Pacquiao versus Spence. We believe we all can agree that this fight will be the biggest fight of the year. We also made a video of Pacquiao versus Spence that most of you probably have already seen, but if you've not seen it, please go check it out. However, today we'll be discussing some tools and traits that the Pac-Man will be using to pull off a shocking upset and make history against a younger Errol Spence. Before commencing, for those of you who are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your boxing friends. By hitting the bell icon, you can ensure that you do not miss any of the amazing content in the future. Now, without further ado, let's get to the meat and potatoes. We'll begin with an ironic statement made by Errol Spence in a recent interview. According to Spence, he could not see himself being knocked out by the older Manny Pacquiao. Not only that, he could not see himself being knocked out in a boxing match, period.
I don't see myself, ever getting knocked out. It's just something I don't see. But, we're definitely going to be cautious and mindful that he does have power.
You guys can tell that the look on Pacquiao's face says it all. The look on Manny's face is saying, this kid is already showing signs of inexperience. The look on Pacquiao's face is saying, this kid is really underestimating the power of me. The look on Pacquiao's face is expressing the signs of concern for his delusional opponent. The look on Manny's face is saying that here is another fighter that I will have to make out of a believer. This is just another fighter that I have to once again prove that I am the greatest of all time, pound for pound. Just how many of these young and upcoming, talented, and proven fighters does Pacquiao have to defeat before he's given the respect that he deserves? At 42 years of age, Manny Pacquiao is still out proving that he's the greatest boxer that ever walked the face of this earth. Before we go into the discussion, I must admit that a fighter that doesn't believe he can hurt is a fighter that will eventually be hurt. Any good boxing trainer will tell you that one of the biggest things that they fear in a boxer is that their boxer thinks they cannot be injured. Spence must realize that Pacquiao's left hand is a monster, and if Spence gets hit right, he could be going down for the first time in his career. Trust us when we say, Pacquiao will be looking to make the young man learn from his mistakes. After all, he had to teach Thurman the same lesson.
Manny Pacquiao. Oh, down goes Thurman! And you go, look, there's Pacquiao, he's rushing in right there, boom, and there's the hook that dropped him, but preceded by a straight left hand to the belly.
Pacquiao uses an array of different angles during, before, and after he throws his swift combinations. Pacquiao will overwhelm his opponents with ultra-fast combos, making it impossible to evade his attacks. Just as you saw in his fight against Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao's attacks come from angles most fighters aren't used to seeing. These attack angles will make it awkward to fighters, making it very hard to defend against. Manny also tends to bait his opponents in by appearing to be out of striking distance, and as soon as his opponents try to attack, Pacquiao will burst forward with his own attack. He uses the same baiting technique to set up his rear overhand left. The bait this time is what seems to be an out-of-position head. He will lean his head forward, appearing to be vulnerable, tempting his opponent to take the shot. While the opponent is looking down and distracted, thinking about how to land his big shot on the out-of-position head of the Pac-Man, Pacquiao is setting up his own big overhand left from far behind his body. This punch is set up in a blinding fashion, and his opponents never see it coming. From over the top, in far behind his body. Another one of Pacquiao's techniques is the high-low technique. We got a look at this technique earlier in the Thurman fight. It's the same technique that put Thurman on his back in the first round. But as we stated, this is one of Pacquiao's many tricks he uses to trick his opponents. And it's a technique that he's mastered, so we don't have to go to the Thurman fight to see this maneuver. We can go throughout Pacquiao's career to see this brilliant strategy. Let's have a look at the bout against Miguel Cotto.
Reflexes and time and wait and see little openings that very few fighters can see. That's why he lives a lot.
Alex Cotto's back is against the ropes, and he fights his way off and goes.
As you can see here, Margarito was hit with the same combination that Thurman was put down with, which was a shifting straight right to the head, a shifting straight left to the body, followed by another shifting right to the head. Pacquiao has mastered this technique, and when he pulls this rabbit out of the hat, his opponents are never ready for it. Not only are Pacquiao's opponents never prepared for the power these combos are packaged in, the speed that this mailman delivers these packages is why these guys never know they have mail coming. However, it is a fact that it's said that a fighter's power is the last thing to leave him. At 42 years of age, Pacquiao still has his speed, and his power remains as well. The same power that Pacquiao possessed when he downed Thurman in the first round is the same power that Spence will be receiving in the upcoming fight. To touch a little bit on the legendary awkward attack angles that Pacquiao brings to the ring, let's take a look at his bout against Adrian Broner in this clip here.
More right hands. You gotta throw more hands to watch Broner. This was in condition that he was able to actually gobble up. Bam!
What a brilliant counter shot! The legendary parry, slip, followed by that monster left hand. The only way a fighter can make a move like this is he or she has to know what punch is coming before it arrives. This is the sign of a crafty veteran in the ring. Another telltale sign of a veteran in the ring is the position of Pacquiao's head when he delivers this blow. His head is tucked in, and his chin is down, protected by his shoulder. Broner can do him no harm in that position. The classic name of the game, to hit and not be hit. Do not underestimate Manny. A proven fact is, if you underestimate that man, you're not prepared for that man. Therefore, you will be shocked and upset by that man. Although we're moving forward, let's look back at Thurman's fight. Keith Thurman was hurt 2 times in this fight. The first one we already saw in the first round, and the second one came later in the fight with a damaging body blow.
He's flicking out his right hand. That always precedes, and oh boy, there's a headbutt. Either that or a punch, but it may have been a headbutt.
The body shot was so powerful that Keith Thurman had to take his mouthpiece out of his mouth to catch his breath. After the fight, a beat-up Thurman spoke about the terrible body shot.
The body shot was a terrific body shot. I even took my mouthpiece out of my mouth just so that I can breathe a little deeper.
Not only did he have to take his mouthpiece out of his mouth, he had to dance around the ring to buy himself time to recover, because he was very close to taking a knee which would have been counted as a knockdown. Keith Thurman also stated in a later interview that he had to escape from Pacquiao because he knew if he would have taken one more body shot, he may not have been able to continue the fight. The Pac-Man is a very dangerous man. Let's ask Brandon Rios about the power that Pacquiao brings to the ring. Pacquiao versus Rios was a very dominating fight undertaken by Pacquiao. Let's also take a look at this powerful blow in this clip. Just the grin on Rios' face says it all. When you've been dominated by the man that you thought you were going to dominate, a look of shame will always appear. We saw the same grin on Thurman's face. Pacquiao will always shock the unbelievers. Pacquiao also connected with powerful combos on the legendary Floyd Mayweather.
Our unofficial ringside scorers, 2 of them are Steve Atkinson. 2 rounds to 1, 29.
It's hard to hit Mayweather with one punch, but just to display the type of speed that Pacquiao has, Pacquiao was able to land combos on the legendary Floyd Mayweather. There are not too many boxers out there claiming that they've done such a thing. Manny Pacquiao is on another level when it comes to speed. If you can hit Mayweather with combos, your speed is unparalleled. Let's look at another clip from their fight. This counter is the same tactic that the Pac-Man used against Broner. The only difference is, instead of slipping to the inside, he slipped outside after a successful parry. This movement caught the smooth-as-silk Floyd Mayweather off guard and left him completely out of position. To be able to do these types of maneuvers against one of the greatest of all time speaks for itself. Floyd Mayweather is a brilliant boxer, and we're looking at him coming up against a boxing master. It may not seem easy to fool Floyd Mayweather to the likes of us, but Manny Pacquiao was able to do it. Brilliant boxing! Pacquiao's countering skills are not given enough credit. For him to be able to parry and counter Mayweather the way he's doing in this fight is just amazing to see. Not only is he parrying Mayweather, but he's hitting him with some hammer blows. The blows that are catching Mayweather are very powerful. Just notice the look of concern on Mayweather's face. That look tells you everything you need to know about the punch. The left hand of Pacquiao was something that Errol Spence has to respect. If he doesn't respect it, he'll get hit with it all night. If Pacquiao can touch Floyd Mayweather with his left hand, what do you think is going to happen to Errol Spence when Pacquiao throws that powerful left hand at him? We can answer that for you. He will get hit, and he will get hit, and he will get hit, and he will get hit. Mayweather is the hardest to hit boxer in the sport. And Errol Spence is no Floyd Mayweather. Errol Spence does not move like Mayweather. Spence is flat-footed. Errol Spence cannot get away from Manny Pacquiao like Floyd Mayweather can. Errol Spence will be there to be hit all night. The legendary heavyweight great Evander Holyfield went as far as saying that he thought that Pacquiao actually won the fight against Floyd Mayweather.
Did you feel that a unanimous decision for Mayweather was unjust, or did you agree with that decision?
Unjust. I didn't think it was that way.
Did you have Pacquiao winning that fight?
Well, I actually thought he did.
Wow! We wouldn't go as far as saying that Pacquiao won the fight, but we do believe the fight was closer than the way it was scored. Mayweather is known for his defense, a strategy for evading being hit, and in a fight we do believe the one that is trying to be the aggressor has a chance at being the winner. But we just added this clip in to show that some people believe that Pacquiao beat Mayweather. So do not underestimate the Pac-Man. Let's end the video with the famous controversy that Errol Spence is too big for Pacquiao. To be clear, Manny is the stronger fighter, and Errol is the bigger fighter, true enough, but let's just leave it at that. We can't say Spence is too big, because we have seen the Pac-Man dominate guys the size of Spence and bigger. We're going to discuss 4 such fights. The first fight is Pacquiao versus Margarito. In this fight against Margarito, Manny is clearly the smaller fighter. Smaller fighters usually have the advantage of being the faster fighter. Manny dominated Margarito the whole fight. He was the smaller fighter, but he was the more dominant fighter. The damage that he did to Margarito had to be put to a halt. They had to stop the fight. It got so bad Manny had to show mercy and pull back his punches in later rounds. So, bigger fighters do not mean anything. There is a saying that goes something like this: "It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog." With that being said, we believe that quote speaks for itself and will be heard around the world. We don't have to get into a discussion on the remaining 3 bigger fighters, and for the sake of time we will not. But for the curious out there, those fighters are Joshua Clottey, Oscar De La Hoya, and Brandon Rios. So, this brings us to the end of today's video. We believe that the ring belongs to Pacquiao, and he will defeat Spence. Tell us in the comment section, do you agree or do you disagree? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Share it with your friends as much as possible. Ask for their opinion as well. Press the bell icon so you don't miss out on any future videos. And remember to stay safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.